and we are back. This is Gigabits and Gigahertz, the vlog about technology, WISP, wireless, 5G, 4G, all the Gs.
All the G's and the OGs, the OGs as well. Don't forget about those.
And today I have with me a dear friend, a colleague that I've known for a long time, Mr. Tasos, Alexiou. Alexiou, is that right?
That's pretty good, man. You got it pretty good, yeah.
Thank you for accepting the invitation, Tasos. And thank you for all the people that are currently watching our broadcast or will be watching it later on because it's going to be recorded and shared later. You can watch this transmission or the old ones, not the future ones, not yet, but you can visit our YouTube channel. Right here is youtube.com/gigabits gigahertz. And there you'll find some nice vlog videos from the past and discussions we had with pretty interesting people. Tasos, what's up, man? What's going on,
dude? The same old. It's just being done a different way, right? So we're still cooking, the same food, just following a slightly different recipe now these days. Things are different.
That's a good take on it. I haven't heard it, but it's a good take.
Yeah.
How's you're currently in Austin, right?
Round Rock, which is a suburb, just north of Austin, but pretty much Austin, Texas, the ATX.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did you stumble with Joe Rogan?
No, not yet, man.
Not yet.
I'm hoping. I mean, I try. I don't go into Austin too often, but I may have to go down there and see if we see him, walking around or something like that.
Nice.
Who knows?
Yeah. Did you guys got any way affected by a recent hurricane that was kind of hitting Texas in any way?
No, actually. So Texas was slightly, ever so lightly compared to Louisiana, where it made landfall and stuff like that. And so no, Texas was spared. Unfortunately, parts of Louisiana were devastated, and the rest of it pretty hard hit. Hard hit, and got to see it firsthand. When it right after it happened. So
please share a little bit of that experience with.
Yeah, so we saw what was supposed to be the hurricane of the century, right? Two hurricanes coming together and devastating. Luckily, as bad as it was, they didn't merge the way they said it would. The storm surge wasn't as high as it was. But we had a lot of our brothers and sister WISPs out there that were hurting for help, and UPS, FedEx, there's no shipments coming in and out. So we teamed up with ISP Supplies, and we just drove up there with a 20-foot trailer. Nice. And loaded it up with supplies, generators, Roam 45s, a whole bunch of gear that they needed, CPEs and what have you, right? So we drove it up with Richard Strittmatter, if you know him from up in Dallas, Sierra Wireless, and we took a road trip out there along with some other WISPs as well, right? Some people came in from Florida, and again, the community that I love, right?
That's
came
awesome.
together to help them out there. Time of need, definitely.
So thank you very much for that. I speak for myself. I was able to also receive some of that love when we were struck by Maria 3 years ago. So and received assistance from the community. So we do appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So for the people that maybe don't know you or don't know the company that you represent, can you tell us a little bit about yourself first, and then a little bit about RF Elements?
Yeah, sure. So, it's a bit of a long story. We'll see how much time we have here. But, I've been around, for those that know me, I've been around probably a good solid 15 years now, the early 2000s, 2003, 2004, or something like that. I actually started up wanting to be an ISP of some sort, right?
Okay.
Started looking into doing MDUs and all this other stuff, the triple play. This was 15 years ago, right? And like a lot of struggling WISPs out there trying to get started, you need money, right? And I didn't quite have the money at the time to the capital in order to make it happen. Long story short, so I started looking into why is this equipment so expensive? How can we get it cheaper? Where do they source it from? Blah, blah, blah. So I started making CPEs back in the early days, started selling those.
CPEs. Wow.
Yes, CPEs. Yeah.
Brings a lot of memories.
Antennas, ingenious radios inside and all that stuff, right? Everybody remembers that. So I started selling, equipment or radios on my own.
Okay.
And then that turned into, distributing product, right? So I started Titan Wireless, right? And that's probably where most of the people from, back then knew me from. So I started Titan Wireless, did that for about 10 years. And then I kind of got a little bit bored of the distribution game. There's a whole method behind how that stuff works. And I needed a little bit more vigor, right? And a little bit more of a challenge. And so while I owned Titan Wireless, I traveled a lot at that time, started my travels for business. And I was always looking for up and coming great companies, right? Companies that are innovative, companies that are making cool things. So probably back in like 2010 or 12-ish, something like that, I found the RF Element guys, right? It was a mom, right, in the Czech Republic.
Okay.
And at the time, they were making, all the little accessories, brackets and antenna enclosures. And, from that time, besides just being a bunch of cool dudes and everything like that, just looking at the hardware that they were making at that time, although it was kind of what was already sort of in the market, I don't want to say it wasn't innovative, but the design definitely was, right? They took it another route. It's like, well, let's make good looking, good performing hardware at a decent price, So since then I've known them and obviously kept in touch with them, visited them, worked with them. We were their first distributor in the US to bring their product line in. And then probably about 6 years ago or something, we were at WISPA, right? WISPA-Palooza. And, they kind of asked me like, so, what do you got going on in your life? And, they noticed that, I kind of wasn't as energetic as I used to be doing what I was doing, running the company and that being in that sector of the business, right? In product distribution. And they said, hey, man, why don't you come work with us? And we have some really cool stuff. And I said, well, how cool? Right. I mean, I was like, if it's really cool and really edgy and there's something there that's exciting, then yeah, sure. I'll do it. And they kind of, unveiled their idea of horns and everything. And I was just like, okay, this is different. I said, this is going to be a challenge. You guys ready for this? So like, yeah, we know, but so they really knew that the US was a very important market for them. And, they said, we just can't see anybody but you, helping us kind of navigate that. So that's how I kind of started with them in late 2014, early 2015 or something like that. So it's been going on almost 6 years. And that's how I kind of got on board with RF Elements and have done many, many things internally with the company, from running North American operations to sales. And now, I'm the product evangelist is the key term there. Okay. And basically I go out and I preach the gospel of low gain, precision antennas and the benefits that it creates in, killing noise, right? Because noise really is the number one issue that most WISPs deal with. Especially when you start getting into the demand that we have now, where you need really dense networks, right? AP density in the tower is probably the key because a lot of the radio manufacturers haven't made huge leaps and bounds in the number of subscribers per access point. So you still need a large number of access points. Of course, there's some stuff out there now that's pretty cool and does a much better job than it did in the early days. But yeah, so RF Elements was definitely, the answer to a lot of the questions people had on how do we make this stuff work in the growing demand in delivering this type of bandwidth. So it's been fantastic. Not only, as you can see, we won Product of the Year in 2019. And our product acceptance throughout the industry, I think, is extremely, extremely strong. And we see it with the competition now, right? So our, people used to say, well, X or Y, sector antenna manufacturers, your competition. So there is no competition, right? But now people are making, other companies are bringing some sort of horns to the market. They're following our waveguide feed interface, which is a high efficiency, very good, smart way to do radio transmission, from the radio to the antenna. And so you're seeing it. So we're seeing a lot of flattery, as people say, and we're seeing more ideas slowly roll through, and not just with little guys. Some of the big boys out there are doing it as well. So I think we've really made quite an impact on the market.
Definitely. I will say that bringing the horn type antenna into the industry has been one of the major developments in terms of overall, field technology, because the radios they evolve as the Wi-Fi chipsets evolve, but in terms of the antenna, we didn't see any great or big jump in technology for a long time, and the horn antennas, even though it's old technology, it's not new.
Right.
It wasn't applied to the industry. So
correct, and you nailed that. You nailed the point, right? And that's something we always say. It's like, the radio manufacturers for sure, over time have stepped up their game, evolved the radios and what they're capable of, but nobody paid attention to hey, you actually need an antenna that's capable of delivering the quality of signal that this radio can now produce. And that was a huge miss by the industry, and I'm glad we came in and did that. So
as time evolved, the noise floor on the unlicensed spectrum has obviously has grown, and that plays a big part in the equation of your performance on your equipment. So bringing this new new technology into play at a very, very affordable price, I think it's been one of the most breakthroughs on the industry.
Awesome. Thanks.
I remember seeing horns on big microwave towers. Back in the day, they were used for the AT&T long lines.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff. Big horns. We're talking about 8-10 footers. So
huge. The wavelength is slightly larger at that frequency too.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's great to see this type of technology industry. We got a lot of fans here on the.
Yeah, I see people chiming in, and
I wanted to point out that if any of you guys have any questions for Tasos, you just put it on the chat and we will discuss it here. So RF elements. I remember, as you said, RF elements by about maybe 10 years ago, 8 years ago, they were bringing some cool products. As you said, not too edgy, just more of what was available, but with a different touch in their design. I will say they were kind of the European. What would you expect from a European company?
Exactly. It was the Gucci bag of of Rutenas,
Exactly. So how you guys are now dealing maybe with this new phase of the company that obviously has, I will say, it has grown substantially.
It has,
and then you have the challenge of bringing out more new innovative products. How you guys tackling that?
It's tough, right? I mean, we're trying to keep up. I mean, we had it going pretty good, the managing the growth with continuing to still deliver innovative products, right? Because we're not a one-hit wonder by any means, and the roadmap is huge for future products. We're already thinking 4 or 5 years ahead of what might be coming, right, and where we need to be. So we've done a good job for quite honestly a fairly small company, right? We're not huge. Again, we're not one of the big boy names out there, public and what have you. But I mean, we make a huge impact and very efficient for how we do business. The biggest problem, probably, or the biggest stumble now, is this really the coronavirus for us.
Right.
It's kind of devastated, not of course the personal devastation to people's lives and stuff like that, but in the industry as a whole, it kind of devastated the supply chain, right? And that's really been a huge problem for us because no matter what we do or how hard we try, we still have to deal with a kind of third-party unknown to supply parts and stuff like that. So it's been a tough. I mean, see these gray hairs. I mean, they got a lot grayer in the past 4 or 5 months. And so yeah, we finally got all that stuff kind of ironed out, right? So Our products are starting to flow. We've announced back in October, right, at the last Wispapalooza, some new products are coming out, some that you're kind of waiting for, twin horn bracket and stuff like that. So we finally got our current product line kind of moving now, right? So now we're kind of backfilling with the new products. The existing product line is moving now. The new products are moving through, and hopefully here before the end of the year, by the end of the year, we should be rock solid again and everything flowing. And we already we have some new products that we didn't even mention that we're trying to bring out before the end of the year as well.
Can you share some info of that secret product?
It's kind of just not a totally new product, right? Like a 4x4 horn or something like this. It's kind of the evolution of, or going sideways with some of the current product lines we have, specifically in the dish market, right? So for our ultra dish, we have a larger dish that's coming out.
Larger?
Yeah, 30 dBi.
Oh, wow.
Right? So people are happy about that. We have radomes. Radomes are finally coming, right? So people have been asking for that, and again some other things. So I think we'll have quite a few announcements between now and the end of the year. We're also, we took some of that time also to refresh a lot of things, right? So we still make patch array sector, right? There are many regions of the world where sectors are really the only cost-effective thing, right? So you still have to keep up, and we always try to re-evolve that technology, and tune it in such a way that it performs as good as possible. Never as good as our horns, but as close to it as possible, so you get the most bang for the buck. So we're re-evolving that technology with some updates, some updates on our mounts, our stainless hardware, right? We have to, fix some of those problems and stuff. So yeah, we're busy, dude. We're really busy.
That's good news. That's good news. Talk me about maybe new frequency bands. Obviously, there's CBRS now, and then it's going to be 6 gig in the near future.
Yeah.
Are you guys moving into maybe on those bands?
Most definitely, right? So both of those are a yes.
Awesome.
What form factor the antenna is, or what type of antenna we do, obviously in those bands is a different question. As you're familiar with, but maybe some of the viewers aren't, right? As we start going below 5 gigahertz, the wavelength of the RF becomes larger, which therefore means the horn gets bigger, right? And 365, we've kind of said is potentially the lowest frequency that we can go. I mean, we can go down as far as we want, but there's a size to gain to price ratio that we have to think about, right? And so I think in 365, it's possible that at some point you'll see a horn. Probably, a very effective patch array antenna, right, off of our current designs.
Nice.
And then 6 gigahertz, obviously, the higher you go in frequency, the easier it is, right? So the gain gets higher faster, the horn gets smaller, and in theory, the price follows that proportionately. So 6 gig, definitely horns. Our current product offering anyway goes up to about 6.4 gigahertz.
Oh, right? It does?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so it's not all of them. So the symmetrical horns, so basically any of our symmetrical beam antennas, the symmetrical horns, the ultra horn, and the ultra dishes, they all go to 6.4 gigahertz. The asymmetrical horns only go to 6 gigahertz, right? And there's the reason for that is they can go higher, but as you go above 6 gigahertz, you start to unbalance those beams, right? So you lose a lot of that really precise performance that we put into our product. So asymmetrical might require a different skew, right? But from the start, I think the symmetrical horns, the dishes, and the ultra horn is primed and ready for the lower 6 gig band, right? So we're ready to run out of the gates with that. So
awesome. Is RF Elements considered themselves as an antenna company, or is a wireless accessory company?
I think we're an everything wireless company,
Okay.
right? Yeah, I mean, for sure, we're thinking in many different directions, right? As far as where the company goes. Yeah, right now we're pretty much an antenna company, but we're far beyond that. Extremely. You can't put us in that box. We're breaking out of it. So we're definitely a wireless company in general. Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
Much broader term is needed for RF Elements, not just antenna company.
And RF Elements is very well known because of their edgy marketing. Can you tell us a little bit about that, man? Because I love your marketing.
Yeah. So I mean, again,
who's behind all the ideas?
JT, our CEO, honestly,
Nice.
comes up with a lot of them. I'm kind of a temperature taker for some of the things that he likes to come up with. Of course, between the both of us, we do it. But a lot of the really cool stuff that people have seen has come from him as well. So we collaborate together. They're from Eastern Europe, right? They're from Slovakia, so things are done a little bit different. They're a little bit more kind of, just speak from the hip kind of a thing, right?
Okay.
And so that's from our red caps, right? That we catch a lot of flack from people, edgy marketing. I mean, it makes a buzz, right?
Have you been in the position that you need to shut down an idea? That's too edgy. That's too edgy.
Yeah, definitely. There's been some, or actually, I should say, it's not more about the too edgy, like we can't do that, but maybe a what's the word I'm looking for? Lost in translation, right?
Okay.
So,
okay.
So you've seen our Fook cancer shirts that we have, right?
Yeah.
So the original phrase that was supposed to be used was kind of lost in translation. I'm like, no, we don't want to say it that way, So, but yeah, I mean, we're still, a respectful company, but yeah, we definitely like to push the limits. And I mean, it's all about being different, right? You don't stand out if you're the same color and vanilla like everybody else, right? So we do that from not just our marketing, but how we approach the market as well, right? I mean, we do all this educational stuff, right? We have our Inside Wireless video series that we do that we teach people, the truth about RF, right? And it's not our truth; it's just how RF works, right? So
the general truth.
Yeah,
we physics.
Yeah, exactly. We try and keep it, as unbiased, and there's really no bias. It's just like, this is what front to back ratio really is, right? This is how gain really works, and this is how you do your link calculations and stuff. To again, visiting WISPs and trying to just have them in their words, right, explain their experiences with our products, because again, it's all about the people, right? If we educate the user base and you have a much more educated user base, this forces the technology manufacturers out there to create better products, because that marketing fluff, if you watch, you can see it. I've seen it over the years. You've probably seen it.
Yeah.
People are just like, that's bullshit right there. I know more now, right? So that's part of our way of educating the industry, and it helps push us, because if the rest of the manufacturers in the space continue to be lazy or are lazy, then that makes you sometimes a little lazy too. So we need a little back and forth.
Maybe not lazy, but they're creative in marketing.
Sure, exactly.
And tell us about that T-shirt that make stainless great again. What's that all about?
So as you know, right, and other people have talked about, so we use stainless steel hardware in all of our gear, right? I know the U.S. is a big market for RF elements and for most of the wireless manufacturers out there, but we ship all over the world, right? And corrosion is a problem, right? So stainless steel is the best anti-corrosive type metal, but obviously it has some issues, right? The problem with this was, we assumed people understood how stainless works. We assumed that people knew that stainless steel can gall, and the friction between the threads on the screw and in the nuts would create some potential galding. If you screw it in too fast, you have people that use drills and impact wrenches and just drill the screws in. Yeah, cross threading, exactly. So anti-seize is needed, or great care is needed.
Right.
So people have been, again, pushing us to go galvanized like everybody else, right? And we've seen what some galvanized hardware looks like. It's still rust. It's still, has its other issues as well. And so we're kind of reinventing it again. This is actually an old shirt from like 2 years ago, I think, when we first had our problem, because everybody's like, no more stainless steel, go galvanized. We're like, no, stainless steel, galvanized. And so I just to be fun and edgy, we went to Wispapalooza, right? And I was just like, let's make stainless great again, just to see what people would say. And hey, we got a lot of traction off of that.
You were able to make some noise then.
Yeah, absolutely. As long as they're talking about us, right? That's the key. Yeah.
Definitely. So Tasos, we've been talking for 25 minutes now, man. It's been pretty awesome conversation. Thanks. What's your general outtake on the industry now in 2020 and years down the road?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's changing really, really fast, right? There's still a lot of unknowns. I'm not too keen on the business side of things from how the WISP businesses are changing as far as consolidation, right? Mm-hmm. And people rolling up smaller WISPs into bigger WISPs and stuff. Of course, we see that because we could see our customer base change and stuff like that. But about the future, it's extremely bright. It's extremely bright. The radio manufacturers out there are kind of keeping up with the demand that's needed. Of course, we're doing our part on the antenna side to keep up with that evolving technology. So I think we'll be able to create the demand, keep up with the demand and what's needed. What I do see and what I don't like, so to speak, is I'm really seeing so much focus on these ungodly fast internet connections, 5G specifically, mm-hmm. right? I mean, who really needs 1 gig to their cell phone, right? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I see that story and that narrative being spun up by the big boys, mm-hmm. right? And I feel that that's really their way of trying to edge out the small guys because it's very difficult to deliver. And as an internet user, yeah. right, I know how much I use, right? I probably know more than the average person, right? I mean, my internet connection at my house is, I think it was 20 meg when I got it, 10 or 15, 20 meg 10 years ago when I had moved in. And on its own, right, I haven't paid or upgraded. It's 200 meg now, right? But I still only move, like I watch my Microtech router at the house, right? And when I'm streaming, the kids are streaming, my wife is working, and I'm on the phone. I mean, what are we passing? 5, maybe 10 meg or something like that. So, this pushing the envelope of delivering these really high bandwidth packages is something that worries me. Right. And it's not that we can't keep up, not that the manufacturers can't make it necessarily, but I think it's the wrong way. And the part of the reason I feel like that is because it's kind of in our corporate DNA. Right. And this is my opinion, not necessarily the company's opinion. Right. But in my opinion, it's part of my DNA as well as to try and educate, the users out there. So I feel that the customer base needs some, disruptive education on, how this stuff really works. How much do you really need? And I think that would help a lot of you guys as well, because it's hard to keep up, man. I mean, so in the beginning we couldn't keep up with the internet demand to the person, right? So now with the use of horns, right, our horns, with the use of the radios that are out there right now, you're having a hard time keeping up with the backhaul to supply the enough bandwidth for the aggregate bandwidth that you can deliver now, right? You used to be able to deliver maybe 100 meg through all your access points, to all your customers. Now you can pop up 12 horns and have 2.5 gig of aggregate throughput that you can deliver to your customer, but you only have a 700 meg, maybe a 1 gig backhaul. So it's a fiber to the tower. I mean, it's becoming unbalanced, right? And for no good reason at this point. Is kind of where I'm going. But I could if we had another hour and a half, maybe we could just talk about that subject.
But I think you have a great point. I think you have to some extent it's starting to backfire, at least for mobile operators. Because all the tests that are being performed, the 5G is underperforming 4G. So
absolutely, I mean that's
food
marketing, baby. That's,
Awesome. Tasos, it's been a great time to share with you this 30 minutes that we've been discussing. I really appreciate your friendship and what you've been doing to the industry for the last 15 years. And obviously what RF Elements is doing with their innovative products and letting the Wisp really be a competitive force in the market. So we really appreciate that. Awesome job to
Thanks.
you and all the team. Any last words? Any personal thoughts that you want to share, experiences or advice or something like that?
We don't have.
I like to close with a good note, man.
We'll have to do this again.
Any grilling tips or something like that?
Yeah, grilling tips. Yeah, I can again a whole nother subject. So I would say you probably have me on your show again, and we can talk about some other topics. But no, I mean, really, the outlook for the industry is very promising, right? Especially our industry, right? The WISP industry. The outlook on the humanity of the people in our industry far exceeds what we can and what we're seeing with the technology that we're delivering and stuff like that. So I think the future is very bright. We start talking about Starlink and satellites in space and stuff like that. I see a lot of people starting to worry about that. I say don't bother worrying about it. Just put your nose to the grindstone, focus, and just deliver, man. Do what we've been doing. We've been doing it forever.
Awesome. Right? I kind of jumped over the Starlink topic, but yeah, we can discuss that in a later interview. But yeah, I concur with you. Just focus on your market and growing your company, and that will be.
That's it.
The future will be so bright. You need to wear shades.
It's a winning combination. Absolutely.
It is. It is awesome. Tasos,
my brother.
Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Looking forward to have another conversation in the future.
Awesome.
And to all our watchers or people that engage with us, thank you very much. So some hellos there to Andreas, Cesar, who's there, Anibal. Thank you very much for watching. This has been Gigabits and Gigahertz, a vlog about technology. Please follow RF Elements here on the Facebook and their website for information about their products and what's coming down the pipeline, their new and improved products. So thank you very much. This has been a great experience. Tasso, thank you again, and see you next time.
Thanks, Gino. Bye, brother. Later.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.